There you go. Good afternoon. I'm wearing a dress with pockets, so I'm just having fun right now. As we convene today, let us acknowledge the tumultuous times we find ourselves in. From recent natural disasters like tornadoes, earthquakes on the East Coast, challenges of inflation and societal issues, our world is facing numerous obstacles. However, amidst these trials, we stand in a position of privilege, a privilege that grants us the power to create positive change. Though the journey may be arduous and the path may not always seem clear, each of us is committed to upholding the mission of this organization and our beloved city, Pittsburgh. We are not just individuals within this community, we are integral parts of the city itself, and Pittsburgh is our home. So I extend welcome to all who are present here today, whether in person, joining us virtually, or watching later via YouTube. Your presence is invaluable as we strive to build a better future for all. Today, March 14th, 2024, marks our regular board meeting for the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh. I am Tanika Harris, the Director of Communication and Community Relations. This gathering reflects our joint commitment to proactive efforts, common goals, and the cherished spaces within our community. With pleasure, I announce that you have a quorum. I would like to pass this over to our wonderful chairman, Chairman Kyle Chintalopoli. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Director Harris. As Director Harris noted, we do have all board members present and accounted for, so we have met a quorum. Our first order of business is approval of the March 14th, 2024 URA regular board meeting minutes. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Then the motion carries. I do also want to note for the public that the URA board met in executive session on Friday, April 5th. The purpose of that executive session was for briefing purposes only for today's meeting. We'll move now into public comment. I know we have a number of registered speakers as well as written comments that were submitted. So I'll turn it over to Director Harris.
Yes, so first we have, and with your pleasure, we would like to acknowledge all of the individuals who are here in person and to provide them an opportunity to speak first. So we have first Stephanie Pashman from the Allegheny Conference. Do want you to know that we are so glad that you came here. You have 3 minutes to speak and you will be timed. We will gently nudge you and let you know, so come on over.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Pashman, CEO of the Allegheny Conference on Community Development. And I want to thank the URA Board for the chance to support the proposed funding of 2 key projects downtown through the Pittsburgh Downtown Conversion Program. I would like to recognize Mayor Gainey's leadership in this effort, the counties and the state for capitalizing this program, Senator Costa for his support, the URA team for their dedication, and finally, the developers that will advance these projects. Downtown Pittsburgh is at the heart of that region, and it is our biggest main street. As a major economic engine and a hub of arts and culture and dining and entertainment for our employees, residents, neighbors, and visitors, it is vital to the vibrancy, not just of our city, but our entire region. Throughout the past few months, we have been working alongside business, academia, labor, downtown stakeholders, philanthropy, and elected leaders to advance our region's shared vision for a vibrant core. And through this process, one of our goals is to create a downtown Pittsburgh that is a true neighborhood, a livable community for all, offering a range of housing choices for individuals and families with diverse social and economic backgrounds. We believe that the affordable units being created in each of these projects, the Triangle Building and First and Market, align well with this goal and will provide enhanced opportunities for housing for all in our downtown. As we imagine a future of downtown Pittsburgh, these projects are well aligned with future revitalization opportunities, offering a complementary experience for those that will live, work, and play. In order to achieve our goals, we need a variety of tools in the toolbox to be able to revitalize downtown, support the conversion of commercial properties to fit our future needs, and the Downtown Conversion Program is just one example of a creative solution to shape the future of our downtown. While we are excited to see these projects advance, we know there's a pipeline of a dozen projects that could create more than 1,000 new units of housing downtown, and we stand ready as a partner to advocate for resources we need to capitalize this program, support more projects, and to capitalize other creative tools. We recognize conversions are complex, unique projects that require persistence, determination to complete, and we commend all involved in moving these projects forward. We are pleased to see this investment being made in our urban core at a time when we need it most. The allocation of this funding is a critical next step to creating a future downtown Pittsburgh neighborhood for all, and we look forward to working with the URA on this and other future revitalization efforts. Thank you.
You do speak fast, and thank you. That was amazing. That was amazing. To give credit where credit is due. Thank you. Next, Chairman, we have Reverend Lisa Richburg. She is going to be speaking on the Lower Hill LRTA funds.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Reverend Lisa Richburg, and I have been a Hill District resident for the past 42 years. I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to expand from a public housing resident to a non-subsidized renter to a homeowner, and as of 2022, a nonprofit business owner. On March 25th, I attended a Hill District community meeting hosted by the Hill District Consensus Group and the Hill District Collaborative, and very valuable information was shared with us concerning the Lower Hill LRTA Fund, among other items. I was surprised to learn that the advisory board that was in attendance was expected by the URA to hold community meetings so that they would in fact be effective in communicating the community needs. I had no knowledge of the advisory board, much less the opportunity to attend any meetings. This then piqued my interest, and I searched the URA website and found and viewed prior meetings, which in all honesty left me feeling more concerned for many reasons. What was obvious to me as I viewed and or listened to the advisory board meeting is that the community's interests were secondary to the bickering and arguing amongst the board members. In fact, I would venture to say that much of what was being yelled lacked any and all professional integrity. I was just as surprised to learn in the meeting that the LRTA grant was available to all residents in the Hill. Myself, as well as others who reside in the Upper Hill, thought the opportunity to apply for the funds were only available to those who lived in the Lower Hill. Vernacular played a part in this misunderstanding. Unfortunately, the window to apply is closed. The 20 applicants have been chosen, and many, including myself, would like the opportunity to apply for LRTA funds. One of the questions that was asked yet not answered is, when is the next opportunity to apply for the LRTA funds? In light of this information and for brevity's sake, I would like to share with you a few questions I have as both a resident and a nonprofit business owner. Will additional LRTA funds be made available, and if so, when? Who is responsible for the oversight of the advisory board? I am inclined to believe, based on my interpretation of the posted guidelines, that the URA has the authority to restructure the advisory board. Further investigation, along with information received at the collaborative meeting, led me to understand this board was developed from the growth fund, and it's my request that the URA would strongly reconsider restructuring the advisory board to be more inclusive of the community and the RCO in which it's designed to represent. Is it feasible or possible for the advisory board to host mandatory quarterly community meetings? Can the role of the advisory board members and how they or their businesses represent the community be explained? We're not sure. How can business owners ensure the Hill District businesses, how can we business owners ensure Hill District businesses, including nonprofits, have access to all funds that are available? I would like to close my comments by noting that the Growth Fund, which originated from the casino to a tune of about $2 million, have yet to be allocated. The community is looking for answers and solutions, and I look forward to meeting with you and having a conversation that will address these questions. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Reverend Lisa. We're now going to move to the virtual. So just give us a second. In person? Okay, we're going to move to Carmen Pace. Ms. Carmen Pace is on Zoom. Just give us a few seconds to locate her, and we'll elevate her to a speaker. Team, just talk back to us so we know. Okay. So Chairman and Sushila, none of the individuals who are on Zoom right now. We can always come back to them later.
Yep.
If it's okay, we would like to move to the written.
Yep.
Okay, so Executive Director Sushila Namani Stanger will provide the written comments that came to us.
Okay, let me get started. Please note that all comments relate to the Lower Hill LRTA funding. There is some repetition, but I will read each comment in full. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Okay, beginning with the first, Jan Council, subject Lower Hill LRTA funding. I would like to express concerns with the current LRTA Advisory Board with expired terms, a lack of representation from all registered Hill District RCOs, and frequent absenteeism among current members. The board isn't effectively serving our community. It appears that the advisory board mirrors the membership of the Growth Fund, which didn't benefit the broader community, but mainly enriched its own members. It also is concerning that progress on dispersing funds have been slow, echoing past challenges with the Growth Fund. I respectfully urge the inclusion of new members to replace those with expired terms and the representation of all registered Hill District RCOs. Additionally, I believe it's crucial to involve representatives from other community stakeholders to ensure fair and transparent allocation of LRTA funds. The hope would be to work together to ensure these funds are effectively used for the benefit of the entire Hill District community. Second written comment, Antoine Bailey for the Lower Hill LRTA funds. Why isn't the community receiving any of these funds? Third, Lisa Wallace, Lower Hill LRTA funds. I would like to express my concerns regarding the members of the advisory board that are not including all residents of the Hill District and Hill District RCOs. There have been no public meetings regarding the allocation of the LRTA funds. I would also like to see how we can go about adding new member/representatives to the advisory board so that all Hill District residents and small businesses have a voice in the decision-making of how the LRTA funds are disputed. Jeffrey Crawford, Lower Hill LRTA funds. We would like to discuss the disbursement of the LRTA funds and the members on the advisory committee. There have been no public meetings regarding the allocation of the funds, and residents and small businesses have not had any input on who should receive these funds. Also, the Hill District RCOs have not been included in the meetings or decisions being made. Next comment, Tanya Ford, Lower Hill LRTA funds. The Hill District Collaborative wish to express our concerns regarding the current composition and functionality of the LRTA Advisory Board. We bring attention to the lack of representation of all registered Hill District RCOs and the issue of absenteeism among current advisory board members. As it stands, the current advisory board does not adequately represent the diverse interests and perspectives of the Hill District community. Furthermore, we note that the advisory board was not derived from the same members of the Growth Fund, which unfortunately did not have a widespread impact on the community. Instead, it predominantly benefited the advisory board members as the primary recipients of funds. Additionally, we observe a significant stall in the progress of disbursement of funds through the Growth Fund. Given these concerns, it is imperative that we take proactive measures to ensure that the LRTA funds are allocated equitably and effectively to benefit the entire community. Therefore, we respectfully request the inclusion of new board members to replace those whose terms will be expiring. We also urge the representation of all registered Hill District RCOs on the advisory board to ensure comprehensive community involvement. Moreover, we advocate for the inclusion of representatives from other organizations, businesses, and residents who have a stake in the development and growth of the Hill District. We seek transparency, accountability, and meaningful community engagement in the allocation and utilization of these resources. We appreciate your attention to these matters and look forward to collaborating with you to address these concerns and foster positive outcomes for the Hill District community. Next comment by Kim Montgomery for the Lower Hill LRTA funds. I'm a lifelong resident of the Hill District and would like to see the entire community benefit from the LRTA fund. To ensure transparency and fair use of the fund, I would like for the URA to take the appropriate action to ensure public dollars are allocated properly. We need to see different people at the table helping to make these decisions. We do not agree with the same organizations and businesses representing our community. Let's make sure all residents are kept informed and heard. It's time for change in the URA and for the URA to support all RCOs and make sure they have a seat at the table so the entire community is represented. No one organization can do it all, and we are grateful for the people who volunteer their time to make sure we stay informed. Next comment, Tiffany Kinney, Lower Hill LRTA funds. I'm learning at a meeting that the Hill District cliques make up the LRTA Advisory Board. During this meeting, I also learned that the LRTA Advisory Board is responsible for organizing meetings to inform the community about the fund status. As a homeowner in the Hill District, I've never received an invitation to a LRTA Advisory Board community meeting regarding fund updates. Given the current distribution rate of the funds, my grandchildren may qualify to apply. It is necessary to change the LRTA Advisory Board membership. The board should represent every Hill District RCO, business owner, and homeowner. Hill District residents demand change. Next comment, Nicole Kinney, Lower Hill LRTA funds. Please help us save our homes, get that money out, and change the advisory board. Final comment. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Next comment, Jim Rochelin, Lower Hill LRTA funds. I'm writing as someone deeply invested in the Hill District community with increasing concern about the effectiveness of the LRTA Advisory Board. It's clear that without tangible progress and evidence of impact, our neighborhood continues to suffer. Expired terms, lack of representation from the Hill District RCOs, and frequent absenteeism are symptomatic of a system failing to address our community's needs. The lack of significant impact from the growth fund, coupled with slow fund disbursement, underscores the urgency for change. We urgently need new board members to inject fresh perspectives and ensure genuine representation. Evidence of impact may guide decisions, and progress must be tangible and equitable. Our community cannot afford to wait any longer. Action is needed to ensure the LRTA Advisory Board serves the Hill District effectively. Thank you for attention with this pressing matter. Next comment is Dr. Bonnie Young regarding the Lower Hill LRTA funds. Multiple internal community efforts have been undertaken to open the fund process and create increased transparency to no avail. Hill residents must have the support of public officials such as the URA Board and Mayor to ensure that these funds flow to people and projects most in need. I request that the URA, the Mayor's Office, the Pittsburgh School District, and the County Exec hold a public meeting with residents of the Hill District neighborhood to hear concerns and offer a restructuring plan that ensures transparency, accountability, and the ready availability of LRTA funds, again, to the people and businesses on the Hill that need these public dollars most. The LRTA Fund Board mirrors the same board that has control over the remaining $1 million of the casino fund. The Hill CDC has been the primary beneficiary of both the LRTA and the casino funds and has received roughly $1.2 million. No report of financial account for the use of more than $280,000 the Hill CDC has received in public dollars through the LRTA Fund. That was made possible by the advocacy of people throughout the Hill District. The Hill CDC chairs the LRTA Fund Committee that has failed to allocate any meaningful amount of dollars over the past 3 years to any entity other than the Hill CDC. This reeks of self-dealing and violates common standards to avoid conflict of interest. I hope the URA will take action to fix current and future problems with access to this valuable resource. And then okay, we're on our way. Stephanie Benson, Lower Hill LRTA funds. I'm a lifelong Hill resident from Sugar Top. I'm requesting the URA board make necessary changes to the LRTA Advisory Board, LRTA Advisory Committee to ensure that all voices are heard and represented on the committee. It's been a few years now, and changes need to be made to the committee to make sure these funds are distributed timely and fairly. We need the URA board to intervene. Next comment, Gilbert Lowe, Lower Hill LERTA Funds. Esteemed representatives from the URA, thank you for this opportunity to address a matter that is crucial to all of us here, the situation concerning the LERTA funds. During the community meeting on March 25th, a URA member informed us that the LERTA fund, initially totaling over 7.1 million as of September 2021, has not shown any financial growth. It was explained that the structure of the account at Zion's Bank leads to a situation where the interest generated precisely equals the management fees incurred. The lack of growth in the LERTA fund raises significant concerns, especially when we consider the erosion of its purchasing power due to inflation. For instance, with the inflation averaging around 3% annually, the LERTA fund would need to have increased to approximately $7,441,430 plus by now to maintain its real value since the deposit was made. It is our right and responsibility as a community to demand transparency and accountability in the management of the LERTA funds. We require detailed information regarding the current balance of the LERTA fund, the specific interest rates being applied, and a comprehensive breakdown of the fee structure that is negating the potential growth of these crucial community assets. This need for transparency and accountability becomes even more critical as we navigate the complex challenges of determining the allocation and distribution of the fund. Final written comment is Edith Parrish for the Lower Hill LERTA Funds. As a passionate advocate for the Hill District community, I'm compelled to address the pressing need for reform within the LERTA Advisory Board. Our neighborhood is eager for progress, and the current state of affairs is hindering our collective growth. The expired terms, limited representation from Hill District RCOs, and frequent absenteeism among board members are obstacles preventing us from realizing our full potential. Moreover, the lack of significant impact from past initiatives like the Growth Fund and the sluggish disbursement of funds highlight systemic issues that demand immediate attention. To chart a path forward, we must prioritize inclusion, accountability, and evidence-based decision-making. This means appointing new board members to inject fresh perspectives and ensure robust representation from all corners of our community. Progress should be measured by tangible outcomes that directly benefit the residents of the Hill District. Our community stands ready to collaborate and drive positive change. Let us seize this opportunity to reform the LERTA Advisory Board and pave the way for a brighter future for all. Thank you for your commitment to our community's well-being.
Thank you, Executive Director. We are still looking for a few individuals, and if you are online, if you could raise your hand via Zoom so our team can find you. We want to give you another opportunity to speak, but it's possible they're under another name. So we're looking for the name that they registered under. And team, just let us know if you do not see them.
We're currently looking now.
Thank you. Okay. We have one individual raising their hand.
Ms. Compton, are you able to unmute your microphone for us?
And for the minutes, this is Constance Lowe, who raised her hand to speak. Ms. Lowe, you have 3 minutes.
Yes. I'm at work, so it might be fading out.
Perfect. We
I'm
hear you
calling.
well.
Okay. I'm not understanding how there's no money which was offered to the Hill District's residents. And I received the email that is no more funds. And the last letter that I received and 4 other people that I know, which is two elderly people, stated in December, we received a letter stating that they would get back in contact with us in January, by the end of January. And I received an email April 8th or 9th stating that there's no more funds available under the URA department. That was supposed to help the Hill District with their housing. And yeah, I don't understand.
Thank you, Ms. Lowe. That concludes our public comment.
Councilman,
If,
or
thank
Council
you.
President, sorry.
No, if the chairman's okay, I'll try to run through what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reverend? Oh, she- Can you? That's okay. I want to respond to the comments. And you're sort of listing out, if I captured them correctly, sort of most accurately reflects everything else we heard. So I was going to just try to go in that order. So your first question was, will there be more, an additional allocation to the home rehab program? And if so, when? Both of those are contingent upon the advisory board's decision. That program did not initially exist. However, last year, hearing the pressure from the community that the advisory board needed to take action, that they needed to get these dollars into the community to benefit, what they decided to do is take all the dollars that were allocated for economic development to the total of $465,000 for that 1 year and allocate it to a home repair program that was staffed by the URA. So just a point of clarity for everyone who either wrote, call, or is listening, it's not a URA program. We have something similar that we already do. We accepted these funds specifically for the Hill District, staffed it, and then helped get those dollars out the door. It is now going to be contingent upon the advisory board having additional conversations, which they're currently in the process of, reviewing last year's allocation plan, along with this year's allocation plan, and determining if they want to submit another allocation for that program. Your next question was board structure, I believe. Yes, members are correct that the initial structure is based on the structure of the growth fund. The original intent was the community asked, actually, let me back up. The community asked these dollars be held in the community and that the community be the ones deciding what to do with these dollars. These are governmental dollars. That was not going to work. The government, the taxing bodies said they have to be held at a government related entity, i.e. the URA. Therefore, in an attempt to honor the request, we took the structure of the growth fund board, which is community led, community houses. Those dollars actually housed at the Poise Foundation, and said we will sort of adopt that structure. With that being said, the committee has discussed adding additional members and looking at its structure. So that conversation, it hasn't formalized, but it has been on the table. You said quarterly meetings / public meetings. Yes, that's also been a discussion point about, you mentioned that you went back and watched all the meetings. We did that intentionally so that people could be aware of the discussions taking place and they could see, view, make decisions for themselves. With that being said, there have been conversations about, one, potentially allowing for public comment to take place at the meetings, as well as actually having community meetings to sort of report out, here's where things stand. Nothing definitive has been decided upon, but those conversations are there. Support for businesses. One of the categories within the allocation plan is specific to businesses. One of the larger challenges that the committee has had is that you're deposited $7.1 million and you're looking to disperse these dollars, but there's no structure to actually do so. And so one of the challenges has been for the committee trying to figure out what that structure looks like. Do we hire a staff person? Most recently, the committee had an RFP out where a number of entities responded, and what was decided upon was essentially, I think it was like $75,000 was what the consultant said we would need to be paid this amount, And on average, we'll spend about 10 hours a week on the project, right? And so the committee decided that probably was not the best use of time, but rather for $75,000, you could actually make a direct hire, house them somewhere within the community, which is what the request is. And then they wake up day in and day out only doing this work to ensure these dollars get out the door, to ensure the applications are created appropriately. And so we're in that phase of the discussion now. But one of the categories, is business support. And so as of right now, there's no mechanism to get those dollars out the door, but hopefully that'll change in the very near future. Because trust me, I hear this every day that this is a concern. You had mentioned the Grow Fund had not been allocated. That's not totally correct. As also mentioned by some of the people who wrote in, dollars have been allocated. It has not been totally expended. To one of the other points, it was put in the interest-bearing account. She has grown, which is why there's still $1 million or so left in the account that is housed at Poise Foundation, because those dollars actually have grown. With that being said, I don't remember the exact date, but there was a meeting in the mayor's office a while back with Poise Foundation, members of the Growth Fund, the mayor's office, about sort of reactivating that fund and getting those funds out as well. Expired terms, URA, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually don't believe there's anyone serving on an expired term. So that's more of a point of clarity. Interest-bearing account that was mentioned. We will absolutely look at, myself, we're having a sidebar about where those dollars are being held and can we put them in account. What? Oh, okay. I'm being corrected in real time. Apparently there's 3 members serving on an expired term. So we will have to take a look at that. What's my last comment that I heard? The young lady who just called in. What she's referring to is the URA recently sent out an email to update everyone who had applied for the home repair fund. To let them know the status of it, to let them know that, yes, you mentioned the 20 applicants are moving forward and we are in the process of contracting contractors to do the work, perform the work. However, just letting them know where everything stood and that they will remain on the waiting list until such time as, to your very first questions, if and when additional dollars are allocated. So that's what she was referring to. And I do know there was at least 1 or 2 mistakes where 2 of the people in the program received the email saying they were on the waiting list. And that's been since clarified. And then lastly, there's sort of this interesting request for the URA to intervene and sort of take control of this fund. And I say it's interesting because many years ago, the community would have absolutely fought the URA for intervening and getting engaged with this fund, which is to a certain extent why we've been a little handoffish. With that being said, I actually want to thank the URA staff. They're not all in this room, but there's many URA staff who work on this on a monthly basis to try to make this work, to help create the allocation plan, to help set the metrics, that put a lot of work into this. And which I'm sure you watched all the tapes, that you'll see the URA staff that intervenes. And I think it's actually a credit to you all for the work that you've put in, that they're now asking staff to get even more engaged, right? So we've come a long way in terms of our relationship with the community. So I actually think that's worth acknowledging and thanking you all for your work. And I hope I've maybe not 100% satisfactory, but I've tried to answer your questions. And what I said, I was at the very beginning of the meeting you referred to with the consensus group. I had to do the rest on phone. But as I said then, I'll feel free to come to any meeting and have a very lengthy conversation about all this, but I don't necessarily want to take up all that time now.
For the advisory board and URA to understand that we are looking for open communication. If nothing else, open communication, because for you to say, we are working on this and we are working on that, we are talking about this and we are talking about that, the community doesn't know, I'm sorry, the community doesn't know those are the things that you are working on and talking about. And so communication is key. And if you're looking for allies and you're looking to expand and include and be inclusive and transparent, then you have to communicate with the community. And then this would get rid of a lot of that. If we know that this is something you're working on and we can have progress and understand what's going on, then there would not, because when people don't know what's happening, they make up their own stories.
Your point is well heard.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Council President. Moving on in the agenda now to announcements, of which we have several. The first, I'm turning it over to Chief Link.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to, appreciate it. Take a moment. About a week ago today, actually, well, not about exactly a week ago today, Raymond Vargo passed away, and I just wanted to publicly, on behalf of the URA, send our deepest condolences to Ray's family, his friends, his colleagues at the University of Pittsburgh. To those who knew Ray, he was a real titan of an advocate for small businesses across our city and across our region. To that end, Ray served on the URA's Business Loan Review Committee for over 20 years. And I personally sat with him at I think it's this exact table when it was at 200 Ross, at our monthly committee meetings. We shared tables at sort of other organizations, committees, in support of small businesses. And it just I think about Ray probably literally helped many thousands of small businesses to start, to grow, and the number of jobs and sort of personal wealth creation and dreams come true through that work. And it's just truly the magnitude of an individual's effort is sometimes untold. So at any rate, just wanted to thank the board for allowing some space for that, but to express on behalf of the URA our condolences to Ray's family and the friends and to all those who knew him. So I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next announcement is the NYU Housing Solutions Lab Home Repair Network, and Derek Kendall Morris is joining us for that.
Good afternoon, members of the board and the public. I just want to briefly announce that the City of Pittsburgh and the URA have been accepted to this year's New York University's Housing Solutions Lab Home Repair Network. There were about 40 applicants. Cities across the country applied for this opportunity to share about home repair programming that we're offering to our residents, and we were luckily selected as one of the 7. So it will be participants from Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, Louisville, Kentucky, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh that will be participating. There'll be 6 virtual sessions over the next few months, and then a 2-day convening in New York City for us to all share ideas and try to help make our programs better by learning from each other. So we're really blessed and excited about that opportunity. From Pittsburgh, we've got staff from the URA participating, members from the Department of City Planning from the city, also members of the team from Action Housing, and the Pittsburgh Foundation will be representing us from our great city. So we're really proud and excited for that opportunity, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Derek. Any questions or comments from board members?
Congratulations. I certainly look forward to learning.
Yeah.
You and me both.
Congratulations, Derek. I know it's one that came together quickly. So kudos to you for pulling it together so fast. And I think it's a testament to the work that's been going on for years that, we've been able to have this opportunity. So excited to see what the group learns.
Thank you.
Our next announcement is the Avenues of Hope ARPA grant program summary. And Talia O'Brien is joining us for that.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Talia O'Brien, former Neighborhood Business District Program Analyst in the URA's Development Services Department. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to showcase the successes of the URA's Avenues of Hope American Rescue Plan Act grant program today. Aligned with the Avenues of Hope initiative, the AOH ARPA grant program was funded through a $7 million allocation from the City of Pittsburgh under the American Rescue Plan Act, specifically designated for AOH communities. The grant program was designed to foster inclusive neighborhood growth by investing in small businesses and energizing 7 critical commercial corridors within Black neighborhoods throughout the City of Pittsburgh. The AOH ARPA grant program launched in February 2023 and officially closed last month in March of 2024. The program consisted of 4 funding rounds that successfully depleted the URA's entire 7 million AOH ARPA funding allocation. Over the 13-month program period, the URA received a total of 127 applications across all 7 corridors. From these applications, 66 grants were ultimately awarded. Out of the 66 awards, 40 were granted directly to small businesses, with 85% of them being minority and or women-owned business enterprises. Thanks to AOH ARPA investment, 26 vacant buildings and storefronts will undergo renovations and be occupied by small business tenants. Approximately 95 businesses are expected to receive direct technical assistance for their planning and growth needs through various providers funded by the AOH ARPA grant program. Shortly, we'll have the opportunity to hear from First Sip Studios, one of the awarded technical assistance providers. I'd like to take a moment to thank the dedicated individuals whose hard work led to the program's success. Thanks to all partners, stakeholders, and team members who have contributed to this program. While many deserve recognition, I particularly want to commend Josette Fitzgibbons, Manager of Neighborhood Business Districts, Jamie Petrowski, Neighborhood Business District Program Analyst, and Matt Reitzel, Business Process Specialist, for their tireless contributions. From revitalizing neighborhoods to empowering small businesses, each milestone achieved is a testament to our collective dedication and hard work. Additionally, I'd like to recognize the invaluable support and guidance provided by the executive leadership team throughout the duration of the program. Your clear direction, collaboration, and support was instrumental to the success of this program. Thank you for your impactful leadership. Thank you again for your time this afternoon and engagement throughout the entire process. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dennis and Sammy Guy, co-founders of First Sip Studios, to delve into exciting program available to AOH entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Talia, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, board members and folks out there in virtual world for listening in today. Definitely appreciate it. This is very nostalgic for us. It was the last time we were in front of a group from the URA speaking about some of the things that we wanted to do. It was a little over 6 years ago when we received our first ever loan for our business from the URA. So I just wanted to recognize that fact that being a minority-owned and woman-owned, veteran-owned small business, not all the time do you have a fair shake everywhere that you go, but the URA has always been a champion in the community helping us with that. So I did want to acknowledge that piece there. So with our Share Your Purpose program, let me back up. So Sammy and I, over the last 8 or so years, we have had the wonderful opportunity to work with small businesses from all over the world, from Rwanda, Africa, to small mom and pop shops peppered throughout the United States. And after COVID, we were forced to pivot our business model to what you see today, where we focus more on programmatic functions, video production, photography, storytelling of small businesses. And when we started that journey, we realized we started seeing patterns with minority-owned and women-owned small businesses throughout many communities in the region. So we decided to do a digital audit of these small businesses. And what we have found that there wasn't enough posting on social media. The websites didn't effectively tell that story of what they do as a small business. So Sammy and I, we could have just went about our day, but we wanted to do something about it. So we started off by creating our Share Your Purpose program. And we initially pitched that to Mount Oliver. We're like, hey, we see this thing going on in the community. Members in the community are coming over to us and saying, we don't understand why we're not converting online. We don't know why our sales have stopped. So we created a 24-course curriculum that spans from artificial intelligence for small business, email marketing, Facebook analytics, because the biggest feedback that we were getting was, we don't know what to post, we don't know when to post, how are we making these decisions? We're a one-person team and we're running our business. So how do we create this content, schedule this content, everything along those lines? So we effectively created a program to address all those needs. Now, once when we created the program, we're like, now what? Now what do we do? So it started a process of working with local government organizations, like municipalities, like different city organizations, like the URA, to help get this program out to the people. Because the folks who need this program, they don't have extra funds to be able to invest into a program like this to get their businesses up and running. So the answer was simple to us. Let's partner with organizations that have a symbiotic relationship to the success of small businesses in their community. A couple of years ago, we started those conversations with the URA, and then Chief Link being one of our folks out there that we reached out to as we may have hit a couple roadblocks that really helped us internally. And Talia and Josette and a lot of the great folks at the URA that were boots on the ground out there in the community helped us get that started. So I'm happy to say under the Avenues of Hope ARPA funding, we were able to deploy our program throughout the 7 different disadvantaged communities. And how that shakes out, it's a 2-pronged approach. Phase 1, we've been doing resource fairs in every single community out there, getting feedback from the community. And then phase 2, where we are right now, we're deploying the program in each community systematically. We've gotten really, really great feedback from a lot of the community members. So feel free to reach out to us at First Sip Studios across all social media platforms to inquire how to apply about the program. And we still have 2 workshops left, which are, I believe, listed up there on May. My eyes aren't what they used to be. May 7th, I believe that says May 9th. I can't see that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to us. And again, thank you for this opportunity, being great resource partners for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from the board on this? If we can go back 2 slides, just to the infographic. I know we talked about it last month with that beautifully boring bar chart that was up there that showed all the funds expended, but I do think it's worth just looking at the impact that all of these loans are making, across those 7 business districts, as you eloquently put it, Talia, and then our partners at First Sip Studio, the way that you're going to help these businesses kind of grow and increase their digital footprint. It's incredibly important, obviously now, for companies and small businesses to have that opportunity. So thank you for being a partner in that. Talia, thank you to you and your colleagues for being so thoughtful, not just in the way in which you reached out to community to make sure that we were able to fully expend all of these funds on all 7 of the business districts, but also to ensure that we were supporting businesses, in their continued growth, which hopefully, goes long past when, they've paid back our loans, and maybe they'll be back here someday, 6 years afterwards to support other businesses and share their stories like, our friends at First Sip Studio. So thanks so much on that. Our next announcement is an update on our sponsorship program. Kayla's joining us for that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kayla Williams. I am the Communication Assistant at the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, as well as the lead of our 2024 sponsorship program. I'm here to essentially close the loop on my last announcement during the 2023 December board meeting, where I announced the opening of the sponsorship program. And I am very excited to provide an update on that program. The application period was open from January 8th, 2024, and it closed on March 8th, 2024. And during that time, we held office hours at the Hill District Carnegie Library to ensure that the community had access to URA staff to ask questions and complete the application, whether it was online with help or in the print version. I want to publicly thank the staff at the Hill District Community or Carnegie Library for their amazing partnership and willingness to support our programs and services. I am thrilled to report that we received a record number of 115 applications this year as of March 8th. This speaks to not only the need for programs like this, but the desire that organizations have to make an impact in their communities through creative and innovative ways. Out of the 115 applications, we were able to award 44 organizations with funding for their events and initiatives. I want to thank my amazing sponsorship review committee, Damara Carter, Cora DeRico, Jacqueline Bowman Porter, Lori Decker, Melinda Ward, Shayla Tompkins, Cameron Weeks, and Tanika Harris for volunteering their time to review the applications and making decisions that will help better our city and bring Pittsburgh residents valuable resources and a little bit of fun this summer. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Kayla. Any questions or comments from board members on this? 115 applications is a lot to review. So yeah, thank you all for spending your time doing that. And agreed, they're small amounts, but you know, they obviously mean a lot and make a big impact for the groups that we're supporting. So, you know, with their events. So thank you all for your work on it. Our next announcement is related to the Downtown Housing Working Group, and I'm turning it
I'll take
over
it,
to
yeah.
Chief Link.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. Chair. I guess ahead of the, we have voting actions ahead here on the agenda, which are very exciting, as Stephanie described. As to an investment downtown and our downtown conversion program, we want to make an announcement for the public's awareness, folks who are watching, listening, and certainly for the board. The URA participates and is a part of a downtown housing working group, which is essentially a group of downtown stakeholders where we meet collectively on a regular basis to advance downtown conversion projects across our city. Generally speaking, this group meets to essentially ensure coordination across our common project pipeline. Kind of recalibrating a little bit, but I think moving forward, to raise awareness and education of our development community on the availability of and benefits of various public financing tools to help advance downtown conversion projects, maximize and leverage our collective impact with the limited, and even more limited after we act in about 15 minutes here or so, resources available to advance downtown conversion projects, engage in sort of, and I would say detailed, detailed conversations to understand the challenges and the financing gaps that individual projects have with the folks on the other end who are the technical expertise and operational experts of various public financing tools, including URA staff, to fill these gaps and ensure sort of a timely feedback loop, to maximize the effectiveness of these resources to achieve our intended goals. But wanted to announce that here and make sure, certainly for the board, for the public's awareness of our work in this space and with this group, and thank our partners, and particularly the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, who's been a staunch advocate from the beginning and helping us to keep organized around this. So wanted to make that announcement. So thank you.
Any
If someone wants to participate, how do they?
Well, first reach out to me and I'll navigate. I mean, not to be coy about it, but so what, I try to think about the word here. So this is not like the table we were trying to keep pretty deal specific conversations. So there's a balance between sort of broad advocacy and sort of larger conversations about the future downtown versus literally individual deals. So we're asking, frankly, developers to come to the table and other experts in the field to open up the books to some degree. So we're, the folks at the table in these specific working groups, are kind of in the deal making mode. So we're trying to strike that balance. But the short answer is, you can reach out to me and I'll work with our friends at the PDP to make sure that we have the right balance between advocacy and sort of that technical expertise and working conversations.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask a similar question just to kind of add clarity to the purpose of this group versus, some of what Stephanie mentioned and the broader kind of downtown planning efforts that are underway. So, Council President, I don't know if that's more what you were getting to, is like, how do we make sure we're engaging folks in that conversation versus, as Chief Link described, this group being a place as maybe a central clearinghouse, if you will, to kind of think about, challenges the projects are facing and how we can creatively work in partnership to solve that and advance them to, for the redevelopment of specific buildings downtown as they move forward. So thank you for sharing that with the public and for the work that all the partners have done to, roll up your sleeves and kind of put egos to the side to sit at this common table to move that ahead. That's great. So any other questions or comments from board members on that item? I know we have a couple walk-on announcements, if you will. The first of which is a bittersweet announcement related to the departure and an exciting opportunity for our dear Director of Communications and Community Relations, Tanika Harris. And I believe I'm turning it over to our Executive Director, Shashila Namani Stanger.
Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to speak first. As many of you know, our Tanika Harris has resigned from her position as our Director of Communications and Community Relations. I want to first congratulate her on her new role as the new Director of National Affiliates and Strategic Partnerships with Catapult of Greater Pittsburgh. It's personally important for me to thank Tanika for the people-centered work that she had led while at the URA. In her time at the URA, she has contributed to the work of every department here and has led that work with care and compassion. I thank Tanika for her service to city communities, and I'm grateful to have worked alongside her. Please join me in conveying deep appreciation for her contributions while at the URA, and also please join me in congratulating her on this amazing new position, one where I hope our collaboration will continue to grow.
Thanks, Director. Before I open it up for board members, I'm want to give the opportunity for any of Tanika's colleagues to provide remarks. So.
Yeah, this is David Geiger. Tanika, thank you so much for everything you've done for the staff over the past few years. I don't have much more to add than what Shushila touched on. Your contributions to the executive leadership team and the board of directors has been noticeable, but probably more important than that has been the impact you've had on the entire staff here at the URA and the communities we are charged to engage with. And that is a lasting legacy that you should be proud of, and I hope that we are all proud of. So thank you so much for your contribution to the organization and to the city.
I'd also like to thank Tanika for her tireless dedication to the community. She inspires each of us every day with her caring and compassion and her very, very thoughtful approach to how we interact and share information with our communities and with inside the organization. So thank you, Tanika. We appreciate you.
Hi, Kiana Wassler, Chief Housing Officer. I want to take the time to second everyone's comments at the table and also just give my heartfelt thank you to Tanika for all of her assistance with the housing department. As you see every month at the board meetings, we are very busy doing a lot of work, as what Tanika would call heart work in the communities. And so I just want to personally let you know that I will take up your mantle of diversity, equity, and inclusion and continue on the hard work that is so important to you. I will take that charge and continue to lead that in the housing department after you're gone. Thank you so much for all of that you've done for the housing department of the URA.
Yeah, and Tanika, you and I shared a moment maybe an hour or so ago, so I won't repeat myself, but personally and professionally, thank you for your contributions. And I'll say that, as an individual, I thank you so much sincerely for, our partnership together through a variety of stuff we've worked on over the last, I'll joke for a second, but in our moment, you mentioned 2.5 years, and in my mind, I was like, feels like that was much longer, but at any rate, so yeah, just thank you. Congratulations. I know that we'll continue to work together, and just personally, just thank you and all the best. So thank you. Thanks for the time.
Board members.
Thank you for all that you've done here. Obviously, we'll start with congratulations. Well deserved. And although you're leaving here, you're not going too far away where we still won't be able to work together and you won't be able to impact our communities positively. Specific to the URA, I think both our director called it the people-centered work. Kiana called it the heart work. And I thank you for always reminding us that although, yes, working out a development deal for a downtown building is very, very complicated and technical and hard, going into a community, as you did with me a couple of weeks ago, and standing before the consensus group and having them reassured and understanding the complexities of what we do is also equally as important and equally as hard, often harder at times, actually. So just thank you for always centering the work that we do here.
Real quickly and be brief. You can always tell when Tanika's been in the room, there's always a little thoughtful touch, even looking around at our nameplates. On the back of it, for those who can't see them in the room, it says, if you're reading this, know you are valued. And I always know when Tanika has had the opportunity to sprinkle just a little bit of kindness, a little bit of thoughtfulness into what we do. And it's reflected in the work that you do and the work that our community sees. So thank you for your hard work and your dedication to this community and to this organization. You will deeply be missed.
Be very brief. I think after hearing all that, I'm only sad that I'm the more recent board member to work with you more. But your reputation certainly preceded you, and even in the way in the last few meetings, looking at the outcomes and the stats on some of these programs and the outreach that's been done and the communication, but also the grounding that you start these meetings with has been really moving and appreciated. So thank you and congratulations.
Director Williamson, I don't know if you have anything before I go, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss your warmth and kindness and generosity of spirit. Catapult is lucky to have you, but you know, we know you're gonna go on and do incredible work on a national scale, and you know that is so important for you know, for this entire world. So thank you for continuing to do amazing, grounded, moving work on behalf of our communities. And good luck. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Oh, Tanika. Yeah, I had to write some stuff down because I wasn't even sure where to start. And a lot of this is going to reiterate and underscore, you know, comments other folks have said. So I'm so grateful for the time that you've spent with us. As you know, David and others noted, you've been a continual advocate for your team, for your colleagues, for the URA and our communities. And as Councilman Lavelle noted, that's not always an easy thing to balance, each of those. And you've done it with grace. So thank you. You've helped us to rethink the way that we engage with all of those groups and tell our stories in a more authentic and empathetic way that goes a long way, I think, to meeting everyone where they are. And through that, you've caused all of us to be better, and you've left the URA in a better place as a result. And I can't think of anything that's sort of the mark of a true leader, you know, as someone who's able to lift up their colleagues in doing that. And thank you for the support that you provided to so many of us, including myself. And I hope that you're able to take some time to be able to do what you've encouraged all of us to do so often. And that is to, you know, rest and to recharge and connect with your family and yourself. We will miss you dearly, but I'm so excited for the opportunity you have, for the work you're going to do, and I'm eager to see what you do next. I apologize to everyone next month when we don't have that warm welcome and whatever awkward stumbling I do to kick off our meeting. I hope that you promise to keep us updated on all the things Jerry does. And I'm just so thankful. So thank you. All right, we won't put you on the spot then. Okay, go ahead.
I'm laughing because the picture, my team asked me for a picture, and I was like, oh, this is my favorite picture. And everything that you all have said, I appreciate and I thank you, but none of it could be done. None of it could be done without those two in that picture with me. And that's Dana Bohentz and Kayla Williams. It's important that we understand our privilege, and I recognize the privilege that I have because I had an all-star team. I had an all-star team that allowed me to be able to move effectively, to navigate, to negotiate, and those two individuals are still here. And so I'm grateful that you all have allowed me to be my authentic self, the showgirl that I am. The theatrics allowed me to do my monologues before the board meeting because that's what it is. So thank you, but I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that the work is also done by those two amazing young women who I'm just so excited to watch them flourish. Thank you. And I love y'all. Love you.
Moving from bittersweet to just pure sweet. Our next announcement is to congratulate our board treasurer, Lauren Connolly, on being named as the next director for Allegheny County Economic Development. So, woo!
Very brief. Thank you. I think one of the things that made me really excited about the position is working with the leadership at the URA even more closely to build that strong partnership. So you're not getting away from me. Some of you work with me all the time now. I'm just going to be working with you more at this point. So thank you. Looking forward to that. But thanks for acknowledging it as well.
Yeah. Moving into our regular agenda, we have items today in residential lending and investments, development services, and then our consent agenda and disclosure agenda. Our first item moving into residential lending and investments is the Hulett Development Triangle LP, the Triangle Building, and David DiBernardo is joining us for this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's David DiBernardo. I'm a lending analyst at the Residential Lending Department of the URA. I'm here today seeking authorization for a $1.8 million loan increase to the Pittsburgh Downtown Conversion Program loan to Hulett Development Triangle LP for the renovation of the Triangle Building. This would increase the current loan from $600,000 to $2,400,000. The Triangle Building project is a $15.3 million renovation of the previously vacant office space located in downtown Pittsburgh at the intersection of Smithfield Street and Liberty Avenue. The renovation will result in 2 street-level commercial businesses and 15 apartments on the 5 stories above. In May of 2023, the initial $600,000 loan was approved in exchange for 3 one-bedroom units affordable to residents earning at or below 50% of area median income. Today, I am requesting an additional $1.8 million in exchange for 1 one-bedroom apartment affordable at or below 50% of area median income and 4 two-bedroom apartments affordable at or below 80% of area median income. This will result in 8 of the 15 units being affordable. All 8 units will remain affordable for the next 20 years. This will be a 0% interest loan. Half of the loan will be forgiven at 1/20th per year for 20 years, and half of the loan will be paid as a balloon payment after 20 years. The residential portion of this project, it's currently under construction. So the residential portion of the construction will be finished in the next month, with people moving in as early as May 2024. And the businesses down below are expected to open around September once they have a build out and get all that finalized. This loan increase is a great way to utilize the ARPA resources that we have available for their allocated objective, converting underutilized office space in downtown Pittsburgh into affordable housing units. This investment into the Triangle Building is a win-win situation where the developer will receive additional investment to complete this renovation, and the city of Pittsburgh will create 8 new affordable housing units in the central business district of the city. These units, as I said, will be occupied within a couple months, so we'll see the results of this investment very quickly. Joining us today via Zoom are the founder and head of Hulett Properties LLC, Brianna Tyson, and the principal of Hulett Properties LLC, Brett Walsh. Brianna and Brett, thank you so much for joining us today. And you may begin your comment whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. We appreciate, your kind words and the support that the URA has given us to date on making this building successful and bringing it back to its glory. I know that there's still some work that needs to be done on the exterior, and we'll be undergoing that work over the spring and summer months. We're also in further conversations with our retail tenants, and we hope to make a formal announcement on that soon. Someone that will be taking the entire ground floor and making that space vibrant. You are correct, the building is very close to being done. We expect tenants to be moving in by mid-May to end of May. We are excited to finally see this come to an end and get people moved in there.
Yeah, and we're also happy to contribute to the affordable unit count in downtown, and it's been a really great experience for us. Speaking to the housing authority and understanding what their needs are, not only for this project but for future projects that we want to undertake downtown.
Thank you, Brianna and Brett. We'd now like to take any comments or questions from the board.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Brett and Brianna. Director Williamson.
Yeah, this is really exciting, incredibly exciting to see one of these downtown projects actually coming to fruition and getting occupied. Do you have tenants lined up already, or are you still accepting applications for tenants?
We have had a lot of interest just on the people walking by the building and contacting us. We have been speaking to the housing authority and the county for the voucher tenants already. We have a property manager that's been engaged, and so they're, making those conversations. We still do have space in the building, so if there's anyone at 50% or 80% AMI or market that wants to get in touch with us, they can either contact us directly or we can circulate an email. Also, on the exterior of the building, we have some hoarding set up, and there's some QR codes as well, so you can just easily access our website and contact us from there.
Yeah, and David has an email address that we're using for information for residential leasing.
Brett, you cut out at the beginning there. If you could repeat what you just said.
Sure, I was just saying that David does have an email address that is being used for all our leasing interests for the residential units that can be provided by the URA to anyone who inquires about leasing units in the building.
I'd appreciate it if that could be shared with the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're calling it, by the way, which we haven't, I don't think, fully announced yet, which we will do along, I think, hopefully in the same timing as our retail tenant. We're calling it the Ivy Residences, IVY Residences at the Triangle Building.
And the website, or not the website, the email address is IVY at mvhp-llc.com. Our property manager is Multiversity. They're located downtown, and so that's where the inquiries are going.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I just one other thought. I mean, this is hopefully the first of many successful conversions downtown. But I think that the URA, we should think about how we sort of capture some of the stories of the people who end up living in the Ivy residences. And lift those up as an example of examples of what we can do again and again and again if we have the resources to be able to help these kinds of projects happen across downtown.
I think that's a great idea. I also think one of the amenities that we are creating in the building is a podcast room. And so it would also be, I think great to just interview all the different tenants as well, like people that are moving in and their experience, and that space can be utilized by the tenants of the building, but it's also it can be utilized by the community as well. And we're making that available to the community, the public schools, the Kappa.
Yeah, particularly Kappa, who we've reached out to have some kind of interaction with their students as a downtown campus.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? I know we saw this one like a few months back, so I'm excited to see that we're able to help it get across the finish line. And Brett and Brianna, appreciate you increasing the affordable units, as part of this increased investment. You mentioned vouchers. Are you talking to the housing authority about a project-based like contract opportunity, or are you just referencing, potential placement of tenants that they're aware of who are looking for housings with tenant-based vouchers?
Yeah, it's tenant-based vouchers, so it's
Okay.
those that are existing holders. That's right.
Okay. That's helpful to know, I think, for all of us and the public as well.
Yeah, and also one of the units that is a voucher unit is the ADA unit, and that unit is specifically being made available to a handicap voucher holder.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you, for your willingness to, look at that. I think it's a good example to what Chief Link was talking about earlier, in the ways that the housing working group can be a common place where, we work across agencies to be creative about how to make these projects work and move them forward. So not just what we're able to do, with these funds, and thank you to the state, for their investment through ARPA dollars, as well as the city, in order to allow us to be able to put these funds to work, to reinvest in this building. And then I know the next project that we're going to see as well. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the BC First in Market, and presenting this one will be Ben Payton.
It's right here. All right. Thank you, URA board members and members of the public. My name is Ben Payton, and I'm the manager of the residential lending department here at the URA. I'm here today asking for approval of 3 actions related to the First in Market redevelopment project. Today's actions are to approve a Pittsburgh downtown conversion program loan for $3,075,000 and a $1 million rental gap program loan with BC First in Market LLC for the conversion of the First in Market building at 100 First Avenue, and to register the intent to issue multifamily debt for the First in Market redevelopment bond issuance in an amount of up to $20 million. First in Market is an 11-story, 100,000 plus square foot multi-tenant building located at the corner of First Avenue and Market Street in the Central Business District in downtown Pittsburgh. When completed, the project will convert the entire building into 93 one-bedroom units of affordable senior housing. Total development costs are estimated to reach $38 million. 100% of the 93 units will be affordable to individuals in the 50 and 60% AMI bracket. The developer is working with the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh to enter a housing assistant payments contract for project-based vouchers at construction completion. In addition to the project being 100% affordable, the development also includes 28 units of UFAS accessible units. These units will be reserved for individuals who need accessibility features in their homes. The developer applied for 4% low-income housing tax credits through PHFA and anticipates an award sometime in the second or third quarter. The developer anticipates construction to begin in October 2024 and completion of the project in April of 2026. The URA's loan will be contingent upon the 4% tax credit award and the securing of all other financing needed to complete the project. The developer is Beacon Communities, and Beacon has completed over 10,000 units of new construction and substantial rehabilitation. Much of Beacon's existing portfolio is made up of senior units, similar to what these will be. And as you are all aware, the downtown corridor is experiencing large volumes of office building vacancies. The downtown conversion program was created to take on this challenge and to encourage the creative reuse of these spaces into housing, and we believe this project is an excellent match. I would also like to note that with this $3,775,000 award, the downtown conversion program funding will be almost 100% committed at that point. And this will be ARPA funding specifically, will be committed. The program will continue to exist and accept applications on a rolling basis. The URA anticipates using affordable housing bonds to finance the program, and the URA is going to continue fundraising efforts to secure additional funding. So at this time, we have Maggie Dudley with Beacon Communities, who hopefully is still on the phone. Maggie, if you.
I'm here.
All right, great.
I made it. Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maggie Dudley, and I'm a development associate at Beacon Communities. Thank you for having me at your meeting today, and thank you to Ben and everyone else at the URA who worked diligently to get us on the agenda for today's meeting. As Ben mentioned, First and Market is the proposed adaptive reuse of the First and Market building located in the Firstside Historic District. Beacon intends to convert this building to 93 affordable, age-restricted units available to individuals making 20% or less of the area median income and 50% or less of the AMI. 100% of these units will be supported by project-based vouchers, which have been conditionally committed by the Housing Authority. Beacon currently has several active projects within a 1-mile radius of First and Market, namely the Standard on Fifth, which is a new construction project in Uptown, and Lecce School in the Hill District, which is our other adaptive reuse project. This proximity creates the opportunity for Beacon Residential Management to share resources across the projects to enhance programming available to our residents at all properties. Beacon is also committed to reducing the environmental impact of our properties, and we will seek to achieve LEED Silver and Zero Energy Ready Home certifications. Both these certifications will allow our residents to live in healthy and clean units. First and Market is an exceptional opportunity to reinvigorate what is honestly a bit of a sleepy corner of the downtown neighborhood while creating beautiful units with unmatched views of the rivers and city to be enjoyed by residents who can gracefully age in place. Thank you again to the URA and to the board for considering our request to make this project a reality.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.
We'll take any questions.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from board members? Go.
I just want to particularly, I mean, this project is amazing, but I want to particularly commend you all on seeking LEED Silver and Enterprise Green and National Green Silver designations. I think it's critically important, not just for thinking about how do we make sure that as we're building and doing new construction that we have our green goals in mind, but obviously it's such a win for the residents that we'll have lower utility bills, therefore more opportunities to spend those dollars in their limited income on how they want to spend it. And so thank you for going after those designations as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky to have many project managers who are personally passionate about those types of achievements as well. So it's definitely something that we continue to plan to do across all of our projects as highly environmentally friendly as possible.
I'll just add, I think I just wanted to thank the development team from the last project we saw and this team and then the staff working to get these on the agenda to deploy these funds. We talk a lot about downtown being a neighborhood with a diversity of people and experiences, and these projects really are delivering that. And it's really exciting to see, but yeah, thank you again. Good work.
Thank you.
I'll echo the comments that Director Connolly just made and go back to the comments Director Williamson made on the last agenda item in terms of, with the resources, what the team's been able to do. Even just with these two projects, when we think about, the number of affordable units that are being brought online, that's over 100, right? Almost 120 new residential units coming to downtown. So, I think it's an important proof point, hopefully for the state, when they made an investment in us and took a bet on a pilot program that we'd be able to be thoughtful in how we deploy those in projects for the reasons that have been noted in the presentations from David and Ben. Are testament to that and evidence of that. And we know, as Stephanie said in her opening comments and from what the team has shared with us, we have at least a dozen or so projects ready to go over the next 12 to 18 months. So as we continue to fundraise and look for more resources and continued partnership, I think this is a great proof point or two great proof points on what we'd be able to do to a sleepy corner in downtown or one of the corridors that are active and maybe just need a little bit of a shot in the arm. So thank you to the team at Beacon, and Ben, you and your team for the work here. If there's no other questions or comments from board members, I'll entertain a motion to approve. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Also, I guess maybe in advance, let's thank PHFA. We'll just count on the tax credits and the volume cap authorization coming through on that. So,
And the state.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Moving on, our next item is, or two items are in East Liberty, both on Rural Street, and for this, turning it over to Niklas.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Niklas Persson. I'm a lending analyst working in the residential lending department of the URA. And today I'm in front of this board requesting authorization to enter into two for-sale development program grant agreements in the amount of up to $70,000 and $100,000 with East Liberty Development Incorporated or related entity for the rehabilitation of 5634 and 5636 Rural Street. These two properties are two-bedroom, single-family houses located right next to one another in East Liberty. Both of these properties are similar in that they're in frankly poor condition, and in order to make them habitable and suitable living environments for a 2 or 3 person household, serious renovations need to be made to both of them. And that is exactly what East Liberty Development Incorporated intends on doing. They've been able to locate and secure multiple sources of financing to cover the cost of these renovations. And once the renovations are completed, as an extension of the mission of this organization to create and sustain affordable for-sale housing in East Liberty, ELDI will then sell these properties affordably to low to moderate income home buyers. To fill their financial gap in their capital stack, ELDI has made 2 applications for grants through the URA's for-sale development program, one in the amount of $70,000 and the other in the amount of $100,000 to cover the hard and soft costs associated with the renovations. And after reviewing their application, it is in our opinion that these funds would be well suited towards the proposed project. Should the board approve these authorizations, construction is expected to begin at the end of the second quarter, with all renovations completed by the end of the year, allowing ELDI to sell these properties at the beginning of next year. And that is it. Thank you all very much for listening. I would now like to introduce Ted Melnick, the Director of Operations at ELDI, as well as Shiva Mathur, the Project Manager at Main Plus M, which will serve as the development consultant for this project. They'll provide a few brief remarks and then help in answering any questions the board may have.
Thanks, Nicholas. This is kind of a continued effort for us to do for sale housing. We've done about 60 houses in the last 3 years. Over half of those have been affordable homeowners, and about 72% have been minority homeowners. So it's been a real focus for us. It'll just help us continue that. Our development partner is Main and Elm, which is another spinoff out of ELDI, of which Catapult is, as well as Rising Tide Partners. This is Main and Elm is we call them Maylene's children. So these are, what we've tried to do is just kind of take the kind of capacity and lessons learned and kind of push them into organizations that can work a little more regionally. We are still kind of in East Liberty and the surrounding neighborhoods, just kind of focused on this issue of equity and affordable home ownership. So it seems like we've had a lot of rentals, so we're really kind of zeroing in on that. But thank you all. And this is Shashwati Kuvle. Hopefully I pronounced that right. She is the newest employee of Main and Elm. And you'll be hearing probably a lot more about Main and Elm in the future. So thank you again for your consideration and for all the years of working together with us.
Thanks, Ted. Any questions or comments from board members? This one seems pretty straightforward. So, but I'm thankful to the effort on that. I know, none of these projects are easy. Certainly when we're looking at how we bring formerly blighted properties back on the tax rolls and create these opportunities to not just return them to productive use, but do so in a way that, makes it accessible for low, moderate income homeowners. So thank you for your continued commitment to that. The LDI and now the team at Man and Elm and Nicholas, you and your colleagues for the work to support it. So if we don't have any other questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Then the motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We are now moving into our guidelines portion of the agenda. The first are the small landlord fund guidelines amendments, of which we were presented last month. So this month it is a voting item, and I will turn it over to Derek Kendall Morris.
Thank you. Hello again, everyone. Derek Kendall Morris, Manager of Consumer Lending within the URA's Housing Department. Requesting authorization this afternoon to amend the guidelines for the Small Landlord Fund to change the financing mechanism from an amortizing loan to a deferred forgivable loan with a 10 to 15-year term. As we discussed at the March board meeting, this change is in line with community feedback that we've received and also in line with other similar programs in other parts of Pennsylvania that do this similar sort of work. We're hoping these changes will allow us to make the program more accessible and honestly beneficial to the landlords that we're trying to target and support through the program. We did have these guidelines open for public comment. That public comment closed on April 4th. We received one comment during that comment period from someone who had previously used the program and was asking if these changes would be retroactive, which they will not be, to clarify that. But if anyone has any questions, we would love to entertain those. Otherwise, we do request authorization to amend the guidelines to make this change.
Thanks, Derek. Any questions or comments from board members? No. I said it last month that I'm just thankful to you, the team, and the advisory board, for being willing to examine these programs that we launch as they go along. And I know we have a couple more guidelines that will be presented, or amendments that will be presented later for different programs. But just thankful for that opportunity to learn and continually improve. Appreciate all the work on that. So, go ahead.
Just a quick question about how the program is currently utilized. Do you see any patterns off the top of your head on where we're seeing folks apply and utilize this funding? Like more East End, more West End?
To be honest, I don't know that we've had enough utilization for trends to really present themselves. Sure. So the projects that we have seen have been, from various different sections of the city, but we've only had 17 applications so far. So I'm excited to see what trends present themselves once people are, more interested in the program. But we'll come back, once we have some more data.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, seeing none, entertain a motion to approve. Do a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you very much.
Our next item is a non-voting item, but a presentation of the homeowner assistance program guideline amendments.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melinda Ward, Senior Consumer Lending Program Coordinator with URA's Housing Department. As we just heard, this is a non-voting item, but I am here to introduce presentation of proposed amendments to the Homeowner Assistance Program, otherwise known as HAP, guidelines to clarify what documentation the URA will require and retain for each client, how each client may utilize the program funding to renovate their home, as well as how often a resident can reapply for assistance through the program. So some general program information entails the following. So the Homeowner Assistance Program, otherwise known as HAP, is a program that provides financial assistance to eligible homeowners to rehab and improve their homes. So this may include interior or exterior repairs, everything from roof replacement to crucial electrical updates to retaining wall demo and rebuild. Each homeowner who goes through this program is eligible for up to $35,000 in assistance in the form of a $5,000 grant, as well as an up to $30,000 deferred 0% interest forgivable loan. And some other information, eligible applicants must have a total household income at or below 80% AMI, area median income, for the year in which they are applying for the program. The applicant must own and reside at the property to be improved. The applicant must prove that they have a current homeowner's insurance policy for the property. And finally, they must prove that they do not owe any real estate taxes to the city, school district, or county. So the proposed guideline amendments that I am here to share today are the following. So the borrower who has previously gone through the HAP program will not be eligible to reapply until after 5 years has passed from the final inspection of the project. So if the applicant applies and gets approved, let's say in June of a certain year, but their project doesn't wrap up and get inspected until December of 2024, for example, 5 years would have to pass before they're able to reapply for the program again. Applicants utilizing the program for the second time will be required to utilize both the grant and loan portions of the program. So this does not mean that they need to utilize the full $30,000 in loan funding, but the applicant would need to utilize more than just the $5,000 grant. We're hoping this measure helps us serve more residents in need of the substantial home repairs, which would likely engage in the full significant amount of the full program amount. And finally, the borrower must not have any outstanding city, school, and county real estate taxes, or the borrower must be on a payment plan. So as long as the individual submits proof of a payment plan during the application period, we will be able to approve them. Okay. And finally, we have a full list here of all of the items that we will be keeping in the client's file. Earlier in the presentation, I said that we amended the guidelines to more thoroughly indicate what will be kept in the client's file throughout the duration of the program. And I will not list all of these for the sake of everybody's time. I'll just go through a few that will be required by the applicant during the application period. So that would be submission of the HAP application, proof of income, proof of home ownership, proof of taxes paid, or proof of that active payment plan, or proof of homeowner's insurance coverage. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Melinda.
All right, thank you all.
I should have asked her this. In terms of where the public can, it's on the agenda. But presuming we'll have a space on the homepage for everyone to be able to look if they want to review the changes. And
I can
Chief
comment on
Wasser,
that.
thank you.
The guideline changes will be available on the URA's website. And I'm not sure exactly where on the Engage page. For public review and public comment, we will leave that open for approximately 1 month.
Okay.
And the plan will be to bring these, collect the public comments, respond, maybe tweak things as needed, and then bring the guidelines back to the board next month for a final vote on the change.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
There's no action on this, so I don't know if there's no other questions or comments from the board. Like with the small landlord fund, again, just thank the staff for their work on this and willingness to improve the program in response to comments we received. So thank you. Moving into development services, we have one item, which also is non-voting item, and the presentation of the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund guidelines. Joining us for that would be Jamie Pietrowski.
Get us out of here by 4. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jamie Petrosky. I'm a Neighborhood Business District Program Analyst here, sharing our Revised Neighborhood Initiatives Fund, or NIF, guidelines. And so this program is designed to assist our business corridors. And the program, since its inception, has been amended, 2019, 2020, 2021, and now, what is it, 2024. So the program is now in its 6th year. Since the program's inception at the URA, we have dispersed a little bit over $1.6 million, and we have an additional $1.5 million committed to existing projects. And with the 2024 program, we will have about $1.1 million more dollars to disperse to projects. So on the next slide, I will go through our guidelines, our updates. Okay. So after getting feedback from a lot of our previous grantees, and just in my experience working with them over the last 2.5 years, due to rising costs and inflation, we are raising the grant ceiling so that the maximum grant award will be $150,000, which is an increase from $100,000. And we're updating our tiered system. So we usually do tier 1 grants that were from $20,000 to $30,000. So we are raising that grant floor from $30,000 to $50,000, where matching requirements will not be required, actually, excuse me, for our tier 1 grants. And then, of course, our tier 2 grants will be that $50,001 to the $150,000 that will require matching funds from our grantees. And so after a lot of discussion with fellow team members about the program, we are refocusing the eligible uses of funds in our business corridors to vacant property activation, facade and other exterior building improvements, public realm improvements, and public art within the business district. And one thing that's particularly exciting, we're creating a rolling application deadline, which I think will be a lot better for our anticipated grantees, because folks would always have to get their applications in at a deadline. We'd get 50 and 60 applications that we'd have to review in like 2 months' time. And so this will spread out our application timeline and allow us to build relationships with our interested grantees or potential grantees, and really make sure that the projects are ready to cross the finish line, are ready to be funded. And if they're not at that time, get them other resources that we may have for them at the URA or any of our other partners. So at this time, I will happily answer any questions or take comments.
Questions or comments from board members? Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, I think these are really thoughtful changes for all the reasons you said. So appreciate, the consideration that went into crafting these, and, your thoughtfulness and listening to, our applicants and how we can make the program better. So thank you.
Thank you.
That moves us into the consent agenda. If there's any questions, comments from board members on the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve in its entirety. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. And then 2 items for the public's awareness on our disclosures agenda. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? We are adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this month, and we will see you back here in May.